Okay.
All right, so we're joined all the way from Pontiac, Michigan, right outside Detroit, by Eisha Branner, the founder of E-Community Outreach Services there in Michigan. We thank you so much for joining us. I got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. This is for our entrepreneurship class, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools, Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Option Center, and our YouTube channel. So we thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Now, before we get into all the amazing things you do, and I know you've been at this for a few years now, just give us a little background because you're a mother of four and you have
Mhm.
college degrees, but your degrees have nothing to do with what you're doing now, which is, that's a common tale.
Yeah.
But even though you have multiple degrees, that is not your business is not what your degree is in.
Not necessarily. No. Nope.
So just go ahead and give us a little background of that education and how you got this business started.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, my name is Eisha Branner. I am born and raised in Pontiac, Michigan. Mother of four. I am now a grandmother.
Oh,
Yeah, I have a 1 year old granddaughter. So, where do I start? I started my organization about 5 years ago in my kitchen. Right before the pandemic, yes, yes. My background come from youth programs, and um, after doing that for a couple years, I was like, okay, I want to do more for my community. Being a parent that was raised in this community that come from the struggle, I'm like, I feel like I can do more. And at that time, I had my bachelor's degree. I was working for Oakland County Sheriff Pal. And so, after working for them about 4 years, I decided to branch off and start my own thing, and I called it E-Community Outreach Services. Then COVID happened, and here I am stuck at home. Like, what are we going to do? And so I worked extremely hard trying to find a space for, you know, what I can do for my community, along with other organizations that were pulling themselves together to kind of support the community as well. And so I landed at helping people with navigate through resources. So I did that for about a year and a half. And um, I don't know, it was just like, okay, I need to take this serious. I need to get out of this kitchen because people are not going to take us serious either. We're doing things from our home. You got to deal with confidentiality. You got to deal with, you got to have a staff now. And so all these things start to play a part. And me stepping out on faith and starting my getting my first location. So I got my very first building. I called it Parent Empowerment Center, and I got it with no money. Shout out to my landlords. I absolutely love them. They support the work that we're doing, and they, most importantly, they believed in our mission. So they took a chance on us, and now it's 5 years now. And in the same little block, we have four locations. And it's all owned by them. Yep. And so I opened up the Parent Empowerment Center, and whew, where we are now from when we started, God has been absolutely amazing. So I have a staff that do case management, wraparound services for our families. And then a year after that, opened up a youth empowerment center to offer youth programs. One of our biggest programs we offer during the summer is an internship for kids 13 to 17. So what happens is they apply for the internship program, and then they work with us with creating the programs. One of the biggest things that I've seen with working with youth is they are very creative. They know how to, hey, this is what we want. And so I kind of lean on them to tell us what we need to be offering this summer. And then they kind of oversee our programs. This
oh,
is
that's awesome.
yeah, it's a free program for them. But they get organization emails, they get, shirts, they get
Oh
computers.
wow.
Yeah, we give them, they can't keep the computers at the end. My goal is for this year is to allow them to. We get more that comes in, but they have their own personal computer. They go to our different programs that we're offering for the summertime, and they oversee those programs. I don't really have to do too much other than, hey, how many kids showed up? What do you guys need? And so they learn through that, and then they are able to pretty much by the time the internship is over, they know how to run an organization. You know, they know the ideal of it. So that's the whole point of creating this internship program. A year after that, I opened up a family membership store. So I've been very busy. Our families, they come in and they can get items for free. We partnered up with Amazon, so we've been working with them for going on 3 years now. So each
Wow.
month they give us about 200 something boxes of free items from Stanley cups to wipes. You know, it's just, and all of this stuff is brand new. And so we set it up like it's a store. They come and shop, and they have to earn points as well. You know, they all when they get connected to our services, we follow them up to like 3 months, and then they start doing different things to get points to continue shopping. And then last year we finalized our bus. We have a mobile resource bus,
Wow.
and we go out into the community and sign people up for programs and pass out diapers, wipes, clothes, food. We partnered up with different organizations that have different resources such as mental health. DTE is looking to support us, so they may be on the bus passing out some of their information or light bulbs. It just depends on what they have. But the whole goal is to meet our families where they are, and if you ain't gonna come to us, we're gonna come to you. That is our tag. Um, as if I wasn't already busy, I opened up a women in business working center. It's been a year now, and we have about 10 rooms that are all filled with women in business, from people that makes body butter to one of my ladies, she does body waxing. I have a daughter that's 23 now. She is a loctician, so she's in here. We have a braider. We have another lady coming in next month that braids here as well. We just had a lady who she makes candles, but she has since now grown out of the space that she had here, and now she has
Wow.
her own. Yes, that's the whole goal. Come in, get your business together, and go on and eventually have your own storefront. We don't want you here for the rest of your life. We want you to grow and have your own space. We have another lady who she's a seamstress, so she makes dresses and jackets and all that cool stuff. So it's a variety. We have a women in business like membership group where it's tons of women from food to decorators that are a part of our membership. We offer mailbox services so they can have an address here. Yep, we got about
Wow.
80 mailboxes, and I just posted about we have a few more. I'm running a special for them to get in here before the summer ends, so they can come in, check their mail, and go on about their business. And now they set up like their a business instead of using their address. What else? I feel like I think that's it. But for the most part, the whole goal is to connect families and business owners to the support and resources that they need to be more self-sufficient, whether it's in business or it's in their lives.
Well, I mean, I'm absolutely blown away because I've never heard of anything like this. Because,
Hmm.
like we said before we started recording, you hear people all the time say, well, if we only had this, if my kids
Hmm.
only had this, if I only had the resources to this. And you really have included everyone in the community to meet everybody's needs. And and we'll share your website for people to take a look at
Yeah.
because, so many times, and obviously I'm on the outside looking in. But so many times in black communities, you have people, and again, so well-meaning, great hearts, want to help the community, and all they think of is sports programs, or they
Mm-mm.
just want to do just a tech program, and that's fine. And we encourage everybody to look for those to take a part in. But you really don't want to have anybody feel like they can't be a part of it because every kid can't be an athlete. Every kid is not into computers. And then on top of that, you have resources for the parents. And then you have so many people. And I hear them even myself. I want to start a business, but I don't know where to start. So you've given them that opportunity to have that space and have a community and resources to help them start that business. So, and obviously with the resources for the family, so many boxes are checked by the concept you have because we always say entrepreneurs solve problems. Whether you're trying to make $10 million or not, you've solved problems and you've really created a niche for yourself right
Yeah.
there. And it's just absolutely amazing how you've included everyone.
Yes. First of all, I appreciate that. Being in this community and starting late in the work that I'm doing, like I started, this is all I've been building 5 years, right?
Wow.
And so I got my master's in 17, but I didn't have a clue. Well, I had a clue what I wanted to do. I was just too afraid to do it. And so my advice to anyone that's listening, do what you love. Like that is the first thing that comes to mind. Do what you love and never be afraid. Never be afraid to try new things. Never be afraid to fail because I've failed a lot. I've messed up a lot. I've messed up a lot of friendships. Messed up a lot of partnerships. But I never quit. I never quit. I never lost. Let's say this. I never lose. I always learn from my failure, from even from my successes. How can I be better? And one thing I will give any youth that's listening or anybody in general, never allow nobody to determine what you want to do with your life. At the end of the day, it's your life. And so when I figure that out, that life is limitless, um, it's up to you. Don't never allow your circumstances or friends, family, or anyone to determine where you're gonna end your success at, and just go hard. No matter what, if you believe in what you're doing, then there's no excuses. So I believe in the work that I'm doing. So for me, it's like I'm just gonna do it, and I don't care if it's one person sharing my post, is one person supporting. I believe in what we're doing so much that I put 110% in. Lastly, it's a sacrifice. You run in business, people want to, they see the successes of my work, but they don't see that I come here at 5 in the morning. They don't see the times that I can't, you know, really be there for my babies like I want to, because I'm working all day. They don't see where, there's funding. I have 4 buildings, so I have to adjust a little bit to kind of manage everything. I have a full staff. I have families that depend on me. It's just a whole lot. But because I love what I do, I try to navigate and be consistent and not be in my head so much so that I don't get overwhelmed. Anything is possible. And
Wow.
I'm always trying to push that because like you said earlier in the before we started, the education, I have a master's degree. I can shut this down and go and work a 9 to 5. But that's not where I'm at. Like I love helping. I love what I do. This feeds me. And I'm not talking about financially. It's a healing piece. It gets me going. I never, since 5 years, I've never was like, I don't feel like going to work. I'm here at 5 in the morning. I'm always working. I've never been in a space where I didn't want to come to work.
Wow.
So again, get into a space that you absolutely love. If you want to braid hair, be the best braider. If you want to play with dirt, be the best play with dirter. Like
You got a
if
good
you want
reaction on
to,
that one.
yeah, yeah, right, right. But you see what I'm saying? Like it's your life. Live it, and take all the considerations out of your mind because it's, oh, I gotta. My mom is a doctor. I need to go and be a doctor. No, because there's a quick turnaround with. That's not really what you want to do. So now you're pretty much finding yourself starting all over. So do what you love to do. And I've always looking back. I'm writing a book as well, so I'll share
Oh,
that
wow.
information. Yep, it's called "Turning My Pain into Success." It's at the last bit of it where I talk about me starting my nonprofit and going through the challenges I went through, and then how I built it with really nothing but a passion. And so in that, I'm always just trying to encourage people to just do what they love. The education, it was a door opener. I don't need it
Yeah.
at all. So
Now, one thing I'm curious about, and in this class, everybody has started their own business concept, and they range from everything you can imagine. But more and more kids, especially in our community, are very interested in the nonprofit aspect of entrepreneurship, which is very interesting. So, as someone that runs a nonprofit, how do you fund things in a nonprofit? Because obviously, you just mentioned you have to pay a staff, you have to pay rent for buildings, and but then you just said you provide items for free. So there has to
mhm.
be some money coming in somewhere. So if somebody's interested in starting a nonprofit, what are some ways that a nonprofit can be funded in order to keep everyday operations going?
So let me say this. Number one, starting a nonprofit is absolutely amazing if you want to solve a problem. Period. It's, you got some people running a nonprofit that don't have as much as I have, that don't really necessarily need the funds. They just want to do it because they want to do God's work, whatever. Right? We got quite a few of those. That's a whole nother conversation for small communities like me, where I live at, where you got so many people want to start nonprofits when it really should be like a program. But that's a whole nother, a whole nother day. Um, you're not, it's not true that you can't, get funds, right? You have to be creative in how you do it. Partnerships is a really big thing. Partnerships, building relationships, I would say, between, out of, number one being, it has to be passion driven. Two, relationships is right after that. You have to love helping, and you want, like, my goal in my nonprofit is to go out of business. I do not want to retire helping people. It is draining at times. It can be stressful because things change, especially in nonprofit. Sometimes you got people that are just simply ungrateful, and I've experienced that. But I feel like there's so many more problems within an urban community that we can focus on. And so me and my team, we're like, within the next 2 to 3 years, we should have nailed this problem down. And what are we focusing on next? So
Wow.
had I would have did a lot more research years ago, housing probably would have been my main focus at that time, because housing is a big issue here. But I just kind of grouped up different resources. But to answer your question, it's, you got to do your do your research in your community. And when I say do your research, find out who's doing what, and if you could partner up with them, or if it's something that is needed, how would your community receive it? If you find a space within your area, then game on. Some, especially in the urban community, you got a lot of people who are fighting for the same type of funds. What helps me stand out the most to getting funds is I don't depend on them. Naturally, I'm a hustler. It's just I'm not your average CEO. Like, I got to be honest. I feel like I'm a hustle, and so, like, now I didn't hustle this for 5 years. Now I'm at that place, like, okay, we got to kind of scale back and create programs, build more relationships, and be within the community and solve a problem. And so I'm kind of scaling back to where we can get more funding, because I mean, I've last year, I think my organization brought in over almost 200,000, and this is off of really just hustling. Like, being successful in what we're doing, where it's so loud, people cannot exclude us. And it's such
Wow.
a need. So my space is parents. We don't have a lot of parent engagement in our community. And so, of course, that's a space that will explode. But if you're looking at open up a youth program, when you got 1,000 youth programs in your community, you got to figure out what is creative. So finding a niche that is not, that's needed but not offered. That is the top, one of the top, I would say the third in getting funds. Um,
Wow.
but also just showing, and I hate to say it this way because there's a different way you can kind of go when it comes to nonprofit. I kind of came, in the back door, but getting it started and letting them know that it's going to be done with or without your support. Funders like to see that you can keep going. You don't need our funds to get you started. You don't need our funds to keep it going. However, if we give you funds and resources and stuff like that, you're going to take it to the next level.
That's amazing. Now,
Yeah.
one thing, and I hate that we have a student that's not here today that was interviewed for this magazine piece, but we had a magazine piece about this class last year, where a couple students were interviewed, and I talked about the same things you're saying.
Mhm.
Because even though we're a rural community, I'll be the first to tell you, rural communities, especially rural Black communities, were left behind for decades when it came to
Mhm.
resources and education and just access in general. So I think what you do and what I try to show is that you just said it doesn't matter what your parents did. Just because your community has only seen certain types of careers or certain types of business or certain types of education doesn't limit you and keep you in that box. And that's such a big part of my message, and it's such a big part of your message. And I just really, it's such a passion of mine that look, just because your parents weren't around, or just because your grandparents weren't able to do certain things, doesn't mean you can't do it. And that's really where you talked about find things that are needed, find things that are
Yeah.
part of the trend. And I know you have in your enrichment programs, you talked about the computers. And look, my grandmother's 95 years old. She was extremely successful, but if you put a computer in front of her, she doesn't even know how to turn it on. And I wish that was
Mm.
a joke, but I'm dead serious. So, the types of careers have changed. So preparing kids for those types of careers is just so
Yeah.
important. It really is, and again, like I said at the beginning, all you hear, and I hear it all the time here in Mississippi, is our kids don't have anything to do. My kids need something to do. Well, you solve that problem, and it really is such a great blessing to the people there in Michigan. Well, I do have some questions from the students,
Okay.
and I like this first one. And this is Anthony Walker. He's a senior,
Hi,
actually
Anthony.
already running. He plays football. He's also running already his own business as a clothing line. So he's a like you said, he's a hustler as well. So
Hmm.
already out there and already has a good plan on what he wants to do. But he asked, has your program kept a lot of kids out of trouble and off of the streets where they were otherwise being incarcerated?
Absolutely. Yes. So let me tell you, before I started my own nonprofit, I ran Oakland County Sheriff PAL program. And so my background come from basketball. I was a basketball player. I played high school and some college basketball. Um, and I've always tried to use some of my skills to connect with kids. So a few years ago, I had a basketball program for all boys, 13 to 17, and it would be like a lock-in. So we would play basketball all night. And so there was this one kid in particular, him and his cousin friend got into it, right? And so I was left to kind of kick both of them out. Because they were like called, they were like, it was very disruptive, right? And I'm like, oh, we don't accept fighting. So as we get ready to kick them out of the program, one of the kids, he was like, I'm supposed to be here. I don't want to go out there and show. Like he was like really advocating for how dangerous it is going out. And so this is giving him something else to do. Because basically, long story short, he was out there breaking into cars and all kind of stuff. And I had found that out later on. But there's so many kids who want to do better, but if you don't have them nothing to do a lot of times, then they choose something different. And these same kids reach out to me to this day, are doing some amazing work. Now, of course, you got some kids who make a left instead of a right, and those are the ones that we just pray for and let them, figure things out. But we have a lot of kids who have really came back and was like, thank you. We have kids who work with us now that they're adults. They intern with us. And so it's a system that's being created from when I met them when they were kids. Now they're either volunteering or being a part of our programs. We do events every year, and they help us out. And so that's their way. They understand when they come to us, I'm going to teach you how to give back. because that's what it's about. We are here to serve, and that's one of my biggest thing for our families or in our youth, particularly because that's where I come from, is to say, hey, no matter what your situation is, you can do great. I come from a drug addicted parent and an alcoholic, father. I decided to make different decisions, but you got to show them a good example and you got to talk to them. So to answer your question, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome. All right, I got time for one more. This is Destiny Smith. She's a senior, really interested in the movie industry, but also very interested in also starting a nonprofit that focuses on
Okay.
mental health. But she asked, of all the programs you've started, what has been the most difficult challenge?
Oh, having a nonprofit to help families in the same community that you grew up in. That has been the biggest challenge because people they look at you like I have to tell people I'm not little E, I'm Big E. I'm a whole CEO. Like you can't because I grew up with you in third grade doesn't mean that you could just come calling me and I'm busy. I'm running an organization. And so really getting people that you grew up with to be on the same line, which at this point I don't care. Is like I don't have to respond. I don't have to, accept how you looking at oh, that's Isha from no, 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 no. Isha, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Eisha Branner. I am the CEO. So you have a lot of that, and it's because they don't look at you in that way because you grew up with them or because they're family. So they expect to kind of like get through the cracks and just do the bare minimum. And I'm like, no. So I've had to put a lot of things in place because I would probably run myself crazy trying to help everybody that I know in my family or my friends because they feel like because we have this personal relationship. So that's to me, it has been I would say one of the biggest things, but not so much no more because I kind of like nipped that in the bud.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I've heard that from a lot of people. When
Mhm.
you're from a small community, and people want to work for you, but they don't want to be held to the same standard as a regular employee because they know you, or they think they're always going to get a deal. And I know you're more in the
Mhm.
nonprofit space, but in the for-profit space, people always want a discount. They say, "Well,
Yeah.
aren't you going to hook it up?" So I'm glad you mentioned that because that is a very real challenge,
Oh yeah.
especially for our young entrepreneurs. And I tell them all the time, like hold fast on your price, hold fast on your standards. Your
Mhm.
business will grow. You won't have to worry about that. But I'm glad you
Yeah.
mentioned that. That is such a real challenge. Now, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much
You're
for taking
welcome.
some time for us. But a couple of things before we go. Give us your website. All your social medias on there. Really, really well put together and shows all your programs.
Okay, so you can find me on Eisha Branner Facebook page, even though it's my personal name. Everything I post is about business or what we're doing, so you'll see a lot of my work there. I'm managing about 4 pages, so you can look up e-community outreach services on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I think it's Ecos members. We have a Women in Business Working Center page. And yeah, that is look up Isha Branner. I'm really big on social media. So anything you're looking for, I probably didn't post it. I will be posting it. So and you guys can reach
Absolutely.
out to me if you ever have any questions. I'm here to support. And lastly, do what you love to do. And
Yeah,
start
and
now. Yes.
yeah, and I got to get you in contact with my buddy over at Neighborhood Grocery in Detroit.
I
Also,
know him.
yeah, he
Yeah.
he he joined us back in November.
Oh
Um,
wow. I went and spoke
yeah,
at his there's a lady who she used his spot and I was her speaker there. So that's how me and him connected. So I know him. We're Facebook friends.
yeah,
His
yeah,
name started with an R.
yeah. I can't remember his name either, but he
Yeah.
was a great guest as well. But the last thing before we go, as these kids, I had just seniors in here with me today, and they're just a few
Okay.
months away from graduation. So, as these kids get ready to transition out of high school, even if they just want to run a side hustle while they're an employee,
Mhm.
why is it so important to focus on being true to yourself and really honing in on those entrepreneurial skills as you move through life?
I would say you can always use those skills in whatever space. Like if I was to look at when I was coming out of high school to now where I'm at, there were so many things that came my way that I should have took serious and could have applied to my life now, but I had to kind of like start all over. So no matter what, it can always be applied to 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You so take it serious. Focus on you, love yourself. That way when you go into this real world, because it can be a little dangerous, you know who you are, you're comfortable, you are ready, you're not afraid. Like all those things matter. I had to learn that as a 40-year-old woman that I matter. I deserve to be here. I deserve to do what I'm doing. I'm unstoppable. Like that came from me as an adult, right? And so as a kid, start pumping yourself up now. Pat yourself on the back for graduating. That's a huge accomplishment. But just be comfortable with who you are and go hard. Put your feet on the gas and don't allow nobody to slow you down. Like it's going to make a huge difference as you get into entrepreneurship because you know being comfortable with who you are, being consistent, working hard, all those things is going to play a part as you go into the real world.
Love it. Well, again, I know you got to get back to work. Thank you so much for fitting
Yes.
this in your busy schedule. Eisha Branner, all the way from Pontiac, Michigan, head of e-community outreach services. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You are welcome. You guys have a good one.
I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, bye.